हिरण्मयेन पात्रेण सत्यस्यापि हितं मुखं तत्त्वं पोषणपावृणो सत्यधर्माय दृष्टये. I welcome everybody to the Swadhyaya Jnana Yajna program by Academy of Yoga and Oriental Studies, Bhubaneswar. This is a lecture series on Yoga Sutra by Dr. Indulata Das, Director, Academy of Yoga and Oriental Studies, Bhubaneswar. I am Indulata Das. Today we'll discuss about Abhyasa and Vairagya. There are three methods to attain the goal. In Yoga Sutra, three sets of practices have been prescribed for Chitta Vritti Nirodha, that is Yoga, that is Samadhi. First set of practice is Abhyasa and Vairagya. Second set of practice is Kriya Yoga. And third set of practice is Ashtanga Yoga. Commentators have clarified why these three sets of practices. There are three methods for three kinds of sadhakas, they say. The three kinds of sadhakas. What are the three kinds of sadhakas? Vigyan Vikyu says, Tatra manda madhyottama bhedena trividha yogadhikarino bhavanti arurukyo junjana yogarudha rupaha. First is, there are three kinds of sadhakas. They are the Yogarudha, Junjana, and Arurukyo. First is Yogarudha. Yogarudha is the highest or the best. He has already ascended to a high state of yoga. Second is Junjana, that is medium. He is very active in the practice of yoga. And the third is Arurukyo. He is at the lowest step. He wishes to ascend the path of yoga, just he is beginning. Now Vyasa says in the beginning of the second pada why the other two methods, in addition to Abhyasa and Vairagya, why the two other methods are prescribed. He says, Uddishtaha samahita chittasya yogaha kathang vyuthita chittopi yogayuktah syaditi etadarabhyate. That means yoga for samahita chittas. That means those whose minds are highly concentrated have been discussed. Now these Kriya Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga are to be discussed, which are meant for Vyuthita Chitta. Vyuthita Chitta persons means those whose minds are not so concentrated. Now Vachaspati Mishra also says, अभ्यास वैराग्ये हि योगोपाौ प्रथमे पादे उक्तौ न च तौ व्युत्थितस्य द्राग इत्येव संभवत इति द्वितीयपादोपदेश्यानुपायान् अपेक्षते सत्त्वशुद्ध्यर्थम्. In the first pada, Abhyasa and Vairagya have been told as method for yoga. These are not easy for persons whose minds are not concentrated. Therefore, in the second pada, some more practices have been prescribed for purifying the mind. So, according to Vyasa and other commentators, Abhyasa and Vairagya are meant for Samahita Chitta yogis, which means yogis whose minds are highly concentrated. Kriya Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga are meant for Vyuthita Chitta yogis, that means yogis whose minds are not so concentrated. Now, Abhyasa and Vairagya will discuss. Patanjali says, Abhyasa and Vairagya are the methods for arresting the vrittis of the chitta. Abhyasa Vairagya means Nirodha. Now, these are two aspects of one practice, we may say, because cannot be practiced one after another. These two should be practiced simultaneously. Both are unavoidable and simultaneously should be practiced. Why these two are simultaneously required? Vyasa gives a very good explanation. He says, Chitta nadi nama ubhayato bahini, bahati kalyanaya bahati papaya cha. That means Chitta is compared to a river. The river Chitta flows both the way. It flows for sins. That srota is that flow is called Vishaya Srota. Vishaya Srota, Vishaya means worldly objects. Then the river which flows for sins or for the worldly objects, that is called Vishaya Srota. Now there is a second flow. It flows for the welfare. It is called Viveka Srota. Viveka is discrimination between real and unreal, good and bad, etc. So the Srota which flows for the discriminating knowledge between Purusha and Prakriti, between real and unreal, etc., is the Vishaya Srota. So like this Chitta Nadi flows both the way. तत्र वैराग्येण विषयस्रोतः खिलीक्रियते विवेकदर्शनाभ्यासेन विवेकस्रोत उद्घाट्यते. Vyasa says by vairagya, Vishaya is thinned and stopped. Vishaya means the srota, the flow which is running towards the worldly pleasures. That is thinned and stopped by vairagya, and by abhyasa, viveka srota is opened. The flow towards liberation, towards yoga, towards samadhi is opened by abhyasa. Now reflection of abhyasa and vairagya in Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna asks Lord Krishna, Chanchalang hi mana Krishna pramathi balbadridhang tasyahang nigrahang manye bayo riva suduskarang. That means, O Lord, the mind is very restless. It is turbulent, strong and unyielding. I consider its control to be extremely difficult. So like this, the strength of mind is mentioned here. Arjuna says that it is very difficult, it is extremely difficult to control the mind. Now Lord Krishna replies. He says, oh yes, mind is very strong. Undoubtedly, mind is very restless and difficult to control. But it is restrained by abhyasa and vairagya. He says, asangsang mahabaho mano dunnigrahang chalang abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyana cha grihate. Simultaneously, one has to practice abhyasa and vairagya in order to control the mind. This sloka is a great proof that Yoga Sutra was written much before Mahabharata. In Mahabharata, we find the mention of yoga and Sankhya and all the aspects of Sankhya and yoga we find in Mahabharata. Therefore, Yoga Sutra is written much before Mahabharata. This is another proof that Mahabharata was written much after Yoga Sutra was written. Now, Abhyasa to be discussed individually. What is Abhyasa? The definition is Tatra Sthito Jatno Abhyasa. Patanjali has given the definition. He says, efforts to reach the state of sthiti is abhyasa. Tatra sthito yatno abhyasaha. Now what is sthiti? Sthiti is the state of vrittilessness. Sthiti is a technical word in yoga used to mean vrittiless mind. The state of vrittiless mind is sthiti. Now description of sthiti and abhyasa in Yogakarika. Yogakarika is a book which explains every sutra of Yoga Sutra. Yogakarika says avrutti ki sthiti hi tasyaha santabasthaja chetasah sadhananam anushtanam abhyasu virjapurvakam. That means sthiti is the state of vrittilessness. It is a calm state of mind. Practicing the measures with vigor to reach the state of sthiti is abhyasa. Now how to strengthen abhyasa? In Yoga Sutra, we find the sutra like this. Satu dirghakala narantarya satkara sevito drudhavami. There are three factors by which abhyasa can be strengthened. Number one, long time practice. Satu dirghakala. Dirghakala means long time. It should be practiced for a long time. Then nairantarya, uninterrupted practice. That means without interruption. There should not be any interruption. Then it should be associated with satkara. It should be accomplished with willingness and allied practices. Now what is satkara? It is clarified by Vyasa in his commentary on Yoga Sutra. Satkara, he writes, tapasa brahmacharjena vidya swadhyaya cha sampaditaha satkaravan. That means tapas, brahmacharya, vidya and shraddha, these are called satkaras. Now let us discuss all the four aspects of satkara. Number one is tapas. Severe painstaking efforts to attain the goal is tapas. By tapas or tapasya, everything can be attained. It is said in Kumara Sambhavam by Kalidasa. He says, tapa kiledang tadavapti sadhanam manorathanam agatirna vidyate. That means everything, one can attain any goal by the practice of tapas. So it is the most important practice for to attain any goal. Tapa has another meaning also. It is to tolerate pairs of opposites. Pairs of opposites like pain, sorrow and happiness, pain and pleasure, etc. One has to tolerate both equally. That is called tapa. It is very difficult practices like Chandrayana Brata, etc. are also called tapas. Under tapas, the Chandrayana Brata, the Paraka Brata, the Panchagni Brata, etc. come under the category of tapas. Tapas is very difficult. Now, second is Brahmacharya. Brahmacharya means total control of sex organ. Upastasya sanjamaha. In Garuda Purana, it is said, Kayana manasa vacha sarva avasthasu sarvada sarvatha maithuna tyagam brahmacharyam prachakhyate. That means giving up sexual practices in physical, verbal and mental level under every circumstance is brahmacharya. Then the third aspect of satkara is vidya. Proper knowledge. Vidya is proper knowledge. Knowledge of the Purusha. That I am the Purusha, I am not the Prakriti. That is the Vidya. Now, fourth is Shraddha. Shraddha is reverential faith and interest. Viveka Chudamani, written by Acharya Sankara, has defined Shraddha very nicely. It says, Shastrasya Guru Vakyasya Satya Buddhya Vadharanam Sa Shraddha Kathita Sadviri Yaya Vastu Palabhyate. That means to accept the Shastra and the words of Guru to be true is Shraddha. One attains the truth by Shraddha. So Shraddha is interest and faith, trust. Yogakarika summarizes it. It says, Asevitah sa satkarang vidya shraddhadi purvakam abhyasa drudhabhumi syat dirghakalang nirantaram. That means abhyasa, when done continuously for a long time with satkara like vidya and shraddha, etc., is strengthened. Gita calls it abhyasa yoga. Gita says, Abhyasa yoga yuktena chetasa nanyagamina paramang purushang divyang jati parthanuchintayan. That means, O Partha, by the practice of Abhyasa yoga with a non-wandering mind, one attains the Supreme Purusha by always meditating on him. Here it is called Abhyasa yoga. Yoga is Chitta-vritti Nirodha. But any practice contributing to the Chitta-vritti Nirodha is also called yoga. So here Abhyasa itself is called yoga because Abhyasa is an important practice for yoga or samadhi. Now again the same Abhyasa yoga in 12th अध्याय अथ चित्तं समाधातुं न शक्नोषि मयि स्थिरं अभ्यास योगेन ततो मामिच्छाप्तुं धनंजय. That means if you are unable to hold your mind on me steadily, then try to attend me by the help of Abhyasa Yoga. If you are not able to concentrate on me, then try it again. That is Abhyasa Yoga. Gheranda Samhita also gives importance on Abhyasa. It writes, Abhyasat Kadi Varnana Yatha Shastrani Bodhayat Tatha Yogam Samasadya Tattva Jnanam cha labhyate. That means just as practicing alphabets like Ka, etc., one can ultimately understand the Shastras. So also by practicing yoga, one can ultimately get the supreme knowledge. So one has to practice the Abhyasa yoga. Thus, Abhyasa is the most important aspect of yogic practice which is done together with Vairagya. One has to practice Vairagya simultaneously with Abhyasa. Now let us discuss about Vairagya. Vairagya has to be practiced along with Abhyasa. Yoga Sutra has not defined Vairagya. But we get the definition of Vairagya in another book. It is Viveka Chudamani written by Acharya Sankara. Vairagya is detachment towards worldly enjoyments. The sloka is like this, the defining sloka is like this. Tad vairagyam jugupsaja दर्शन श्रवणादिभिः ब्रह्मादिस्तम्भपर्यन्तं ह्यनित्य भोगवस्तुनि. Here jugupsa is also read as jihasa. Jugupsa means hatred, jihasa means to wish to give up. So the meaning is like this: hatred towards or wish to give up all kinds of enjoyments which one receives through various indriyas like eyes and ears, etc., is called vairagya. The purview of vairagya stretches from a blade of grass up to Brahma or Brahmaloka. Now, why should one hate or wish to give up objects of enjoyments? Because they do not give permanent happiness. One has to come back even from the Swargaloka. In Bhagavad Gita, we find Tetang Bhuktva Swarga Lokang Vishalang Khine Punye Marte Lokang Vishanti. That means, having attained the heaven, they enjoy till their merits last. But when the merit or punya exhausts, they come down to the Martya Loka again. So it is a temporary phase. The enjoyment is temporary, not permanent. Even enjoyment in the highest loka is to end. In Bhagavad Gita itself, it is said, Abrahma bhuvana lokaha punaravartino Arjuna. That means, so Arjuna, people have to come back even from the place of Brahma. Now, what are the lokas? Let us have a little small discussion about it. Lokas, there are lokas above the earth and there are lokas below the earth. The lokas above, including the Martya loka, are like this: Bhur, Bhuloka, Bhubarloka, Swarloka, Mahaloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, and Satyaloka. These are the 7 lokas above the earth. Then there are lokas below. These are Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Rasatala, Talatala, Mahatala, and Patala. Satyaloka is the highest loka, and it is also known as Brahma Loka. So one, even if he has reached Brahma Loka, he has to come back again after his punyas exhaust. So there is no permanence in the enjoyment of anything in any loka. There is happiness only in Vairagya. Now come to Vairagya in other text. There is happiness in Vairagya. Padma Purana says, Na Chandrasya Sukham Kinchi, Na Sukham Chakravartina, Sukham Asti Viraktasya Mune Rekanta Jivinaha. That means Indra does not enjoy happiness, nor does a monarch. Only a sage who has Vairagya in his mind and leads a secluded life is happy. Vairagya gives fearlessness. One has no fear of loss of anything in Vairagya. Bhartrihari, writer of Vairagya Satakam, says everything is associated with fear except Vairagya. The sloka is like this: Bhoge roga bhayang, kule chitti bhayang, vitte nrupalat bhayang, mane dainya bhayang, bale ripu bhayang, rupe jaraya bhayang, shastre badi bhayang, gune khala bhayang, kale krutantat bhayam. Kaye krutantat bhayam, not kale, kaye krutantat bhayam, sarvang vastu bhayanmitang bhuvinunang vairagyam eva bhayam. There is a long description about which fear is associated with which enjoyment. We will certain it. In enjoyment, there is the fear of disease. In wealth, there is the fear of king, etc., etc., etc. Like this, everything is associated with some fear or other. But it is Vairagya only which is free from all kinds of fears. Vairagya itself is fearlessness, says Bhartrihari. Vairagya is the first condition for liberation. If one wants liberation and he doesn't practice Vairagya, then nothing will be gained. So Ashtavakra Rishi says in Ashtavakra Gita that leave the objects of enjoyment first. Muktimichhasi chet tata visayan visavat tyaja. That means if you want liberation, my son, first throw away the objects of enjoyments as poison. Then let us come back to Yoga Sutra again, Vairagya in Yoga Sutra. Patanjali has indirectly mentioned about the division, not directly. Vairagya is divided into two types, apara vairagya and para vairagya. Yogakarika has described it nicely. In Yogakarika, we find the sloka Vairagyang dividhang proktam parang cha parameva cha yatamanadi bhedena chaturdhapya parang punaha. That means Vairagya is divided into two types, para and apara Vairagya. Again, apara is divided into four types like Jatamana, etc. Now, division of Apara Vairagya. Apara Vairagya is the lower Vairagya and Para Vairagya is the highest Vairagya. Apara Vairagya is divided into four categories or has four steps. These are not four categories, in fact, these are four steps of Apara Vairagya. First is Jatamana step, second is Vyatireka step, third is Ekendriya step, and fourth is Vasikara step. Now, what is Jatamana Vairagya, which is the first category or the first step of lower Vairagya? Jatamana Vairagya, in Jatamana Vairagya, restraining Indriyas from running towards objects. Yogakarika clarifies it. Indriyani pravruttani ma bhupan vishayasviti yatamanah prajatna syad evam artha nivruttaye. Sadhaka's efforts not to let the Indriyas run towards the objects is yatamana vairagya. Artha nivruttaye means arthebhyah indriyanang nivrittihi. To bring the Indriyas back from their objects. This is yatamana vairagya. Just trying to control the Indriyas. Now the second step or the second category, that is Vyatireka Vairagya. In Vyatireka Vairagya, some Indriyas are controlled and some are uncontrolled. Yogakarika again clarifies it. Etebhyah samito ragaha karyam esang samastatha ditiyang vyatirekena jatra badharjate ratihi. Which means my attachment with these objects have been stopped. I have to stop the attachment with such and such objects. When the sadhaka differentiates his detachment, it is the second step called the Vyatireka Vairagya. Then the third step or the third category, which is called Ekendriya Vairagya. In Ekendriya Vairagya, all Indriyas except manas are controlled. There is desire in the mind to enjoy only. The Yogakarika clarifies this also. Baihendriya pravrutau tu santayang visayesu hi raga ausukya matrena trutiyang tatra chetasi. All Indriyas have stopped running towards objects, only desire remains in the mind. It is the third Vairagya called Ekendriya Vairagya. All the Indriyas have been controlled, only the desire in the mind remains. Best description of Ekendriya Vairagya in Bhagavad Gita. Visaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha rasa varjang rasopyasya parang društva nivartate. Which means the objects of enjoyments retreat from the Indriyas if the sadhaka does not allow the Indriyas to enjoy. But the desire remains in the mind. It is destroyed when one realizes the Supreme. Here rasa means the desire. The fourth step, which is called Vasikara Vairagya, it is the highest step. It is the highest category among the Apara Vairagya. So Vasikara Vairagya is the highest step. Here there is perfect control over the Indriyas. Not attracted towards any enjoyments of this world or of the heaven. Here the yogi is not attracted towards any enjoyments in this world or any enjoyments in the heaven or in any other loka. Drushtanusrabhika Vishaya Vitrushnasya Vasikara Sangya Vairagya. Drushta means that which is perceived. Anusrabhika means that which is heard. So in this world the enjoyments are perceived directly. About the other worlds we do not know, we hear it from others. So both the enjoyments of this world and the other worlds, if there is repulsion for all these enjoyments, then that is Vasikara Vairagya. Now all the four Vairagyas in Apara Vairagya we have discussed. Now we will discuss Para Vairagya. Para Vairagya is the highest Vairagya. It is Vairagya from the Prakriti. It is Vairagya towards Prakriti and its modification. It is the supreme Vairagya. Tatparang Purusha Khyatir Guna Vaitrishnam. Paravairagya is repulsion from Prakriti due to knowledge of Purusha or practice of the knowledge of Purusha. Purusha Khyati means the knowledge of Purusha, Khyati means Jnana. Guna Vaitrishnam, Gunabhyaha Prakrutehe Vaitrishnam. This is repulsion towards Prakriti. Here Guna stands for Prakriti because Prakriti is a conglomeration of three gunas, and therefore here the word Guna is used to mean Prakriti. Repulsion towards Prakriti is the Paravairagya. Now Paravairagya leads to Asampragyanta Samadhi. Paravairagya is the cause of Asampragyanta Yoga or Asampragyanta Samadhi, in which there is no Vritti and only Sanskaras. Virama Pratyabhasa Purvaha Sanskara Sesho Nyaha. Paravairagya leads to supreme knowledge. We are not going to discuss about the Asampragyanta Samadhi or Sampragyanta Samadhi here, because in another lecture we will discuss about Sampragyanta, Asampragyanta Samadhi, etc. Thank you for listening to this lecture. If you have any question, you may write it in the comment box. Thank you.